stop reading books for no reason, for the sake of just reading them because, oh, you bought this book, so that means I should keep on reading it, right? No, no. The worst thing you could do, well, you made a mistake. You bought a book and you realize that it's trash. In a perfect world, you should have been able to buy the best possible book for your specific case, for your specific situation, because I do believe that it's kind of stupid to just read something if you're not trying to fix something or trying to understand the concept or whatever. For example, there is no reason for you to buy a business book if you're right now not focusing on business. You know what I'm saying? You're focusing on relationships or whatever. Likewise, there is no reason for you to buy a psychology book to understand people when you're like, quote unquote, trying to lock in to do your work and just do that. You just go to the gym and work on your business, which I don't think is a good idea. But it's even more stupid to read a book like that for no reason. But that's something else. What I'm saying is, you bought a book, you're like, yo, this book might help me with this. So you bought it, you spend some good money on it, and then you spend some good time on it. But you get to like page 50, page 100, page 150, I don't fucking know. You might read a lot of it and realize that, yo, this book is just repeating the same concepts, or is not getting to the point, or, yo, I low-key wasted my time. Like, I knew everything they said within the last 150 pages. What do? Do you just continue to read it because you get the dopamine spike of, oh, I finished the book? No. It's like people tell you that you should watch One Piece because it gets so good after 300 episodes. Bro, I'm not trying to watch 300 episodes. You know what I'm saying? There is no reason for you to waste so much time just for it to potentially at some point help you. I got beef with one book. It's called 1984. You might have read it. You might love it. I don't know. I don't care. The thing is, it sucks. It just sucks. It's so long. I mean, it's not long, but it's boring. It's generally boring. I think I read like 100 pages. I was like, yo, this is just the same old, I don't care if it's for the artistic thing to just over detail things and things like that, but I don't particularly like that kind of style. You know what I'm saying? And I like slow things. Like Naruto is my favorite show, my favorite anime. You could say it's slow, but I don't know if it's so slow, but still, it's my favorite show. And it's pretty long, right? So I'm not against that. I'm against just no progress, just nothing happening. You know what I'm saying? Like when you just look back and you feel like, yo, I just wasted my time. I didn't gain anything from this. So you shouldn't just keep on reading a book just because you'll at least say, oh, I've read this book. No. You know what most people do? Most successful readers do? They read the book. You know why most people say they read 1,000 fucking books in a year, 100 books? I don't know. They say that because, well, not 1,000 books. You'd have to be so unemployed, and I think it's counterproductive to read 1,000 books. I think it's counterproductive to read 100 books too, to be honest. I think you should just, I don't know, reading is kind of overrated as a whole, in my opinion. But that would be another video topic in and of itself. Because reading is just, for most part, people just read because they know that it's good for them, but why is it good? You know, that's like going to the gym without actually pushing hard. You know what I'm saying? You're better off just not going to the gym. You know, or there are people who read a lot, but like, what's the point? You know what I'm saying? Like, there are people who go to the gym 7 days a week. Meanwhile, there are people who go to the gym 3 days a week and they get the same gains. You know what I'm saying? It's like you're overtraining. You know what I'm saying? And we get to the same point. But that's besides the point. The thing is, when you read a book, you're supposed to assimilate, to accumulate information, as much information as possible, because that's what it is. You know, it's somebody's life work, or somebody worked really hard on that thing, and now you can, you know, get their knowledge super quickly. That's the point. But if you didn't gain the knowledge to a certain amount of pages, I'm saying you should quit. You know, and that depends on the person. For some people, it could be just 50 pages. I don't blame you, to be honest. I mean, 50 pages is quite a long time, you know? Like, depends on the book, but that's upwards of an hour of reading, right? Basically. So, like, if you feel like you wasted an hour, and now it's different if the things were being set up and you think that, oh, it's going to get somewhere. Like, yeah, maybe the past hour didn't do anything, but now it's setting up to go somewhere. But if it didn't really set up anything, what's the point of reading? You know, especially if you read like a self-improvement type of book, which those don't really have a setup. Like they jump straight in, basically. You know, maybe they have a little preface of like 20 minutes of reading, but after that, you know what I'm saying, they jump straight in. So if you feel like you got nothing from that, stop reading it. You know, I know you spend money on it. I know whatever. Maybe you didn't spend money because pretty easy to just pirate it, right? But I would actually recommend to buy books, physical books, because you know, at least you don't spend more time on the screen, which you should minimize as much as possible. But you could always I guess, print it and things like that. Like, you can get around that if you don't want to buy it. But yeah, reading a digital book is not really a good thing, to be honest, for me. But that's besides the point. The thing is, when you read it, you know, whatever, whichever way you read it, if you reach to a certain point, why keep reading it if you felt like you didn't gain anything from it? Because now at least you got your losses, you know what I'm saying? At least you got your losses, and you can start a new book, you know? I know it's like, you can't really say that you've read this book, but I feel like you can say, you know what I'm saying? Like, maybe you can read a summary of it or ask. See, this is a thing that I do quite often. I think it's a pretty good use. It's, you can ask AI if this book will answer the questions that you want to be answered, to decide if you want to keep reading it. You know what I'm saying? Like, if it's like a fiction book, you could ask without giving the summary, but I guess with fiction books it's kind of different. It's like, it either hits or it doesn't. You know what I'm saying? But you know, with a self-improvement book, for example, you could ask the AI to be like, yo, will this become good? And, or will this help my problem, help what I'm looking for? Because for now, you know, you tell them to which page you got to, and they will say like, yo, yeah, you might, you know, see. But I guess with self-improvement books, you can just read summaries as well, which I would recommend, to be honest, to read summaries before even buying it, because it's like, with these books, there's no real spoilers, you know what I'm saying? And with fiction books, you could ask like, yo, without giving me any spoilers, tell me, you know, if this gets better and you describe what better means to you. You know what I'm saying? And if it doesn't, don't just, you can drop your ego and just stop reading that book. you'll do yourself a favor, because unlike what a lot of people want to tell you, everything that you do, if you don't feel like you gain nothing from it, then it was a waste of time. You know what I'm saying? Technically, reading a book that is worthless is better than scrolling on TikTok. But that's because like I said, if you are actually reading it physically, if say you're reading it digitally, it's not that much better than scrolling on TikTok, to be honest. Yes, the problem with scrolling on TikTok is that you get the dopamine and all that. Like, it's not necessarily the fact that you waste time, but more so the cascading things that happen. But still, I would argue that reading a book that does nothing for you and you sit at the screen, or even just reading it in general, what I'm saying? I would better off just be not doing anything, just be, walking, going for a walk, or just sit with my own thoughts, or meditate, or, what I'm saying, whatever, rather than read a book that gives you nothing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you can skim through it. Like, if I see a book that's like, yo, this just sucks, but I'm thinking that it might become better, I like read it super fast. Like, I read the page in like 2 seconds. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just look. You know what I'm saying? I skip chapters, or I don't skip chapters, but I just skim it to see if something pops up, and you could do that as well. That's a technique too, but don't feel forced to just keep reading it. A lot of books suck. Contrary to popular belief, to what I don't know, parents or teachers, or whoever, whatever people would want to tell you that books are this amazing thing. And no, it's similar to like content creators. Really, books are it's basically content creation. What used to be content creation. Like, it's a little bit harder to to make it in the book world, or not. I don't know. Yeah, it's a bit harder to make it, and you need to have some actual information and stuff. But still, just because a lot of people liked it and it's a bestseller doesn't mean it will help you in any way. As we know, most motherfuckers are idiots. Like, yeah, most. Because think about it, most people are lazy. You don't really want to be the average guy. Most people are lazy, undisciplined, fat. You know what I'm saying? Scrolling. Yet these books are bestsellers. So you put two and two together, and it's like, well, this person probably has read the 48 Laws of Power. However, he's not really all that cunning, or you know what I'm saying? Like, just because they're bestsellers, that's even a better reason for why this book might not actually be super good. Because a lot of people read these books, yet they're still where they are. You know what I'm saying? A lot of fat people read Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins. You know what I'm saying? Is that a good book? I don't know. It depends on you. But if you feel like it isn't, then, like just because it's a bestseller doesn't mean something will change in you, because a lot of people read the best book in the world, but they did nothing. So action is still king. That's number one. Number two, just don't waste time with the books. Like, if you're reading a book, you might as well do something, because you can't just passively just read and be like, oh, no, trust, it's going to get good. I spent money on it and people said it was good. Nah, if it's just not good, then stop reading it. And I think I'll stop here, because I'm kind of coming back to the same point. I'm going around in circles. So yeah, hopefully you got a point of this video. Don't read for no reason a book that you got. Just because you got it doesn't mean you have to read it. Or You can read it, but you are not forced to finish it. Okay.